I have an honest question for Mayor de Blasio, the mayor of New York City. I have an honest question, sir, which is, do you have some issue with Jews and Christians? Do you have some particular problem where you seem to single out Jews and Christians and target them now during these critical times? So here's what happens for everyone else. Yesterday, Tuesday, there was a big event in New York City, Blue Angels and Thunderbirds, these amazing jet displays. They did a flyover in New York, and they flew over New York City to honor the first responders, the medical workers. Tragic story just a few days ago of a Christian doctor working day and night in New York City, gets sick herself, takes a break with her family, and kills herself. Was she overwhelmed by what she saw? Was she just exhausted? Tragic story. So here is a sign of solidarity and support for the medical workers of New York, for the first responders. Wonderful. And there they are, the Blue Angels, Thunderbirds flying over. Just an absolutely majestic sight. And pictures of crowds of New Yorkers, hundreds, not just the medical workers, but even thousands of New Yorkers gathered together. And the New York Post reported how social distancing rules just went out the window. They all wanted to gather together, and they're been, cooped up together, so they go out. Here's the New York Post headline: New York City ignores social distancing for the Blue Angels Thunderbirds flyover. Okay, the same day that this is taking place, there's another funeral in Brooklyn. Ultra-Orthodox rabbi passes away, and there are the crowds, hundreds and hundreds of people, and they're not following social distancing guidelines. Okay, so just like with the Blue Angel Thunderbird crowd, these folks are not following the social distancing guidelines. They were supposed to. Masks were being given out within the community. It didn't happen. Okay, it didn't happen. Mayor de Blasio was so upset about this that he got personally involved in breaking the event up, and then issued this tweet: my message to the Jewish community and all communities, but notice, my message to the Jewish community is this simple. The time for warnings has passed. I have instructed the NYPD to proceed immediately to summons or even arrest those who gather in large groups. This is about stopping this disease and saving lives, period. Okay, I'm all for saving lives. And I believe Mayor de Blasio wants to save lives. Yes, he's been criticized right up front for downplaying certain things, or going to a gym to work out, or walking 11 miles with his wife the other day, and people like, this is not essential travel. What are you doing? So there has been a lot of pushback and calling him hypocritical or late to the party, whatever. I believe he genuinely wants to save lives like any other mayor would, that cares about constituents, cares about people, wants to save lives. But the big question is, why the outrage against the Jewish community, and not a syllable about the crowds that gathered for the Blue Angel Thunderbird flyover? And again, we're not just talking about health workers that gather. We're talking about just general crowds not practicing social distancing. Why the lambasting of one, but the ignoring of the other? Then my friend and colleague, Dr. James White, posted this, and we put it up on Instagram. It's a side-by-side of two tweets. And James says, nothing to see here. So on the left, to the Muslim New Yorkers beginning their celebrations tonight, this is a few days back, who need halal meals, so this would be the equivalent of kosher meals in Islam. We have them across our 400-plus grab-and-go meal sites, and are bringing hundreds of thousands more to the 32 sites most frequented by our Muslim communities, and go to thus and such. Okay, wanted to help the Muslims. Ramadan, you fast all day. You have big celebratory meals at night, so you fast from dawn to dusk. Then you have celebratory meals at night. So here we're going to accommodate you, help you out. And then next to that, my message to the Jewish community and all communities. It feels like a difference in tone. And someone else tweeted this out and raised the concern that Mayor de Blasio has not cracked down on hate crimes against Jews. So one tweet raised that question, raised that issue from Ariel Davidson. No surprise, this mayor has allowed anti-Semitic hate crimes to go unpunished throughout his city. Seems the knock is coming from within. And then it was 1 month ago that we did a video taking strong exception to Mayor de Blasio's threats specifically to churches and synagogues, all right? Where he said to churches and synagogues explicitly, with no constitutional right to do so, and basically had to walk this back afterwards. There was an outcry about this. He says to churches and synagogues, if you violate the meeting ban, we will be there to disperse you, and if you will not follow our directives, we might close your building, close your church building, close your synagogue permanently. Permanently. And by the way, I didn't see a warning there to the Muslim community of New York. And by and large, he was praising the Jewish and Christian communities there. Thank you for your participation and cooperation. It's not like there was this mass all-out rebellion of churches and synagogues all across New York saying, we're not going to listen. And the Muslims said, whatever you say, sir, we'll listen. No, Mayor de Blasio completely overstepped his bounds there. And on top of it, did not speak equally about other groups. The question is, why? So back to my honest question, Mayor de Blasio, I'm with you. Saving lives is paramount. I'm with you. This is a very difficult situation. I wouldn't like to be in your shoes of the decisions that you have to make. But why is it there seems to be this unequal treatment? Why is it Jews and Christians are being singled out and everybody else seems to be able to go scot-free? Something, sir, seems to be wrong with that picture.